Meeting called to order. Today is Tuesday, May 7th. Public hearing number 2 for wastewater treatment facility, proposed budget.
Good evening, council.
Council President Goslin.
Sorry.
Here.
Council Vice President Williamson.
Here.
Councilman Messier.
Here.
Councilman Licciardi. Here. Councilman Dennison.
Here.
Participating communities, Town of Coventry, Town of Situate, City of Cranston, City of Warwick, Town of West Greenwich. Quorum is declared. Superintendent.
All right, good to go. All right. Evening, council. So no odd changes from last time. We're looking not to increase the budget. We had a couple of adjustments, but nothing's really changed. Tony, do you have any comments on it before we open it up?
No, as superintendent said, nothing's changed from the last meeting. There is no rate increase this year, no proposed rate increase.
Any questions for Jeff on the budget? Any public comment on the budget? Sewer budget, that is, yes. Hearing none.
Oh, no. We're not voting still. All right. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Thank you, council.
Thank you.
Go too far. We still
No.
got one more meeting. I'm gonna postpone this one and move to council. All right, today is Tuesday, meeting called to order. Today is Tuesday, May 7th. It is now 6:06 PM. Town council acting as a sewer committee. Jay, will you say prayer?
We ask for the wisdom to make good decisions, to speak with confidence and listen with compassion and work together to create a better way of life for the people of West Warwick. Amen.
Amen. Jay, will you listen to pledge allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
For the record, everybody comes on last roll call is here now.
Quorum is declared. First item is approval of the minutes of the April 23rd, 2024 Sewer Commission meeting and April 23rd, 2024 wastewater treatment facility FY 25 public hearing number 1.
Move approval of the minutes.
Second.
Moving second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Superintendent's report.
Good evening again, council. All right, so
Welcome
this,
back.
thank you. Thanks for having me. So this is for April 2024. It's kind of early in the month for us to meet, so all my information, I don't have all the monthly information yet as far as the lab goes. But for flows, average daily flow was 9 million per day. Our maximum was 16.8 million per day, and our minimum was a low of 4.3 million gallons per day. And as of April 23rd, for CBOD and TSS, we had 97% removal for CBOD. TSS was also 97% removal. As of April 21st, our phosphorus limit was 0.07, which is below the limit. For sludge removal, Synagro is still struggling to stay afloat. They're having issues there. They're turning us away quite often. So 287 tons went to them. 303 went to the landfill. So we sent out a total of approximately 290.
So Jeff, I know Cinebro is the only game in town.
Yes.
So what happens if something happens with them? Is the landfill the only other place, or is there something like another plan that for everybody to go to?
Sure. So in state, it's the landfill. They'll accept a certain amount per day. Once that's used up and we can't go there, we'll have to see about trucking out of state, which gets exponentially more expensive at that point.
So when you say out of state, you're talking
But
Connecticut,
I
Mass?
forget off the top of my head, like Rochester, New York, or Hartford, or something like that. So,
Really?
so we'd have to have it transported, and then the main cost is the transportation, because you have to travel. So, you're making 2 loads per day, but 6 hours to do 2 loads out of state. So
It's an issue. It's a real
Yeah.
issue.
Do you foresee this becoming the trend now, or?
At this point in time, I don't. I know they're trying to get the facility back up and running. I know they're having issues with it, so they're doing maintenance repairs on it. So I'm hoping that it keeps up. Hopefully, the state will step in if they have to, or tell the landfill, hey, you have to accept more tons per day. They accept 100 per now between all the facilities. So hopefully they can, if it comes to an emergency, hopefully they'll allow or tell the landfill, hey, you have to allow more in at this point in time. So
So Jeff, some of that, back in years ago, I'm not sure when, but I do recall DPW and sewer plant working together and mixing with loom and using it on the side roads and stuff like that. Is that a possibility that we could?
as far as,
Best grass
so
there ever was, I'll tell you
as far as
that.
land use, we stepped away from that because while we were producing it, we were producing too much and had nowhere to go with it from what I can,
But on
what
those
I've
offload,
heard.
on those offloads that you can't get rid of, instead of trucking it to New York or Boston or wherever you Hartford, that maybe we can take those small loads and use it with our DPW and mix. I'm
I-
just giving you an idea.
I don't know if that'd be a
Used to be.
viable option, depending on if it closes for a month, then what are we gonna do with the rest of it? If we have, I know what you're saying with the small loads, but what happens if the small loads just keep backing up, and now we have a big pile sitting at the facility with nowhere to go.
That may have been when we were composting too, which was a
Correct.
different
That's what we're
time.
talking
a long
about.
Well, no,
time
this
ago.
is, that too, but
Well,
yeah.
I
there's
think it
a
was
pro-
prior to
there's a project.
2015.
If there's a project that we could use it, it might be an option.
I
Certainly-
don't know if it's a
certainly-
DM issue or
Yeah,
not, but
we'd have to check all
Yeah,
those
yeah,
things
you'd have to
first.
check into it.
but I'm just throwing out there because I know it used to be done.
Yeah, we'd have to make sure.
We have to do
DEM
some
would-
research on
yes,
that to
yes,
see
yes.
other viable options aside from just transporting sludge
I-
out of state.
I thought I remembered that we had hoped Synagro would be up and running May 8th, which would be tomorrow. Is that yes, no, maybe?
That's yes, no, maybe.
Yeah. all right,
We're at their mercy.
Okay.
Is the landfill, do they limit it, is it per month, like say May 1st to May 31st? Do they run that way, or?
No, so basically they say 100 tons per day. You need 20, you need 20, you need 20, you need 20. I get 0, depending on the request. I will say that they have been very generous. So they worked with us really well.
Okay.
So generally when we send a request in, they don't say no.
Is it first come, first serve?
Yes,
Okay.
but we're always on top of it, and
Yep.
knock on wood, we haven't had an issue that I can recall where they've rejected us for multiple days. So
Other than it costs us a heck of a lot more money.
it's just pricier,
Yeah,
correct, Councilwoman?
Any other
Oh.
questions? Oh, you've got more, Jeff.
Oh, sorry, forgot about backtracking. All right, sewer backups. There was one on Providence Street in the public line, and there are 3 in the private lines on Sheldon Street, Tower Road, and Earl Street. There was one odor complaint from Victory Avenue, and there were no facility violations to date, and I don't plan on having any for the month.
Any other questions for Jeff? Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Industrial pretreatment report.
You might have to wait a couple of years before you do composting again. Yeah, let me move out of town. I got a lot of gray hairs over that one. Okay, the industrial pretreatment for the month of April. Our significant industrial users, Farmera, Amtrol, Bradford Soaps, Immunex, Warwick Ice Cream, were all submitted their quarterly reports, and they were all in compliance, with the exception of Amtrol. Amtrol had a violation. They exceeded the permit limit for zinc. This violation, we issued them a technical review letter with an administrative penalty of $500 for that violation. Quality Food has been issued a new non-significant industrial permit. They prepare meat products. With regards to the force main at Showcase Cinema, this month Showcase continues to bypass pump the station. The wastewater is discharged at, I believe it is at the Cranston facility during this period of time. They are continually working with the contractor to find a method and means to make that connection. They've tried to put patches in it so they can sleeve it across the highway. The goal is to work on parallel to or underneath the 95 overpass, get that done, and then work backwards to the pump station. But they're having a lot of difficulties because of the utilities that are in the way and bringing the line across the highway. So we'll continue to work with them, and they continue to bypass their station. With regards to 4N Properties, formerly AKA Clyde Woods, we granted the program and the superintendent granted them an extension until May 5th to clean the line. Reason for that was that in our earlier discussions, the email, going back to the email which I forwarded some of the council people, it was the week of the 5th. They have a contract. We confirmed they have a contract. In fact, they began the work today, cleaning the line. So that work is being done. A second letter was sent out to 4N Properties with regards to the O&M manual. After the commission meeting, we wanted to bring everybody on a common date where all the O&M manuals. So we gave them an extension, or basically a final drop dead of June 5th to present their O&M manuals. During the month of April, we aggressively went to Eagles Nest and Briarwood Condominium Group. We did find contact people. They are working with us on an operations plan. So we made a lot of headway there, and they're working on it. When we Extended Stay America was working with us as we went back to corporate to get who manages the pump station. Come to find out, they don't own the pump station. A realty company owns it within a development. I believe it's called the ESB Realty. We hand-delivered a letter, Jeff emailed a letter, and we have been in communications with them. So they are working on completing their pump station. So we have spoken with the 4 remaining facilities that do not have O&M manuals, and we feel comfortable, based on our discussion, that we'll get a product by the 5th of June, and it might need revisions, but we believe comfortably that we'll get a product by then.
Thank you.
The program, East Greenwich Square did clean their line because they clean it every quarter. They have an agreement with Neon Marketplace to coordinate the cleaning. Neon Marketplace did not show up for the cleaning. This is the second time in the 6-month period that they did not show up. This is a responsibility between East Greenwich Square and Neon Market. East Greenwich Square property manager did contact Neon Market to make sure that line is clean. If in fact it isn't clean, Neon Market will East Greenwich Square will shut them down because that ties into their private line. And that was part of the agreement. Bald Hill Realty did clean a portion of their gravity line this month. Next month, they'll finish the balance of it. With regards to food services, Tavern on the Square and Crumbies were inspected and were in compliance. 1470 Main Street submitted plans to renovate the former Rocks Market to a church. The plans were not consistent with our standards, and a letter was issued. With regards to construction, 87 Center of New England, Kent County Water Authority, Boston Scientific, and the rental facility on Duke Street they're still under construction. And that's all I have.
Any questions for Jim? Thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
Next is financial report. Our operating and debt expenses through the end of April were $8,257,368, which is 83% of the budget. As I mentioned to the council commission a couple of weeks ago, we were going to pay the Bradford soap invoices last month, which we did, which is why you're seeing that increase in expenses this month versus last month. Overtime for the month of April was $14,746, which is 10% of the budget. Our year-to-date overtime is $140,585, which is 98% of approved budget, but we do have a year-to-date savings in salaries of $54,169, which is helping to offset our overtime expenses. As far as projected to actual, our personnel-related expenses for the first 10 months of the year were projected at 83%. So far, we've expended 78% of the budget. So even with the closeness of spending the overtime, we are still under budget on personnel expenses at this point through the year. Sludge removal costs through the end of the last month were $676,916, which is 91% of the budget. Our year-to-date sewer usage and industrial collections are $7,391,797, which is 92% of the total billed. Prior year sewer usage collections are $669,310, of which $136,608 is penalty interest. Our sewer assessment collections continue to remain high through the end of April at $325,472, which is 128% of the total billed. Revenue versus expenses through the end of April are revenue, $8 million, total revenue from all sources, $8,290,154. Expenses, $8,257,368. So through the end of April, our revenue was exceeding expenses by $32,786. Cash and investments through the end of March were not, April were not available yet, so we still have the total for the end of March of $3,788,860. That's my financial report, Council President.
Any questions for Tony? Thank you, Tony.
You're welcome. Next item is consideration of resolution SC 2024-13, adoption of the fiscal year 2025 wastewater treatment facility budget.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Moving second. Jeff, you want to give an update on this? Again, I know you just went over the budget, but just in case somebody came in late.
Okay, sure. So there was no changes from the last several meetings we've had. We're not asking for a rate increase, and I think that's about it, unless Tony has anything else to add again.
I do not, sir.
Again, just to make,
You might want to talk about what the numbers are, maybe the
Oh,
resolution.
sure.
Yes, just so people know.
The proposed budget for fiscal year 2025 is $9,558,522. The sewer usage charge would remain $4.65 per 100 cubic feet of water consumption, and debt service charges would remain at $120 per equivalent dwelling unit.
Thank you, Tony.
You're welcome.
and for the record, as the director said, there is no increase in your sewer bill unless you use more water. Just want to point that out, because I was saying, I wasn't supposed to get an increase, but if you use water, you will pay more. But it's a flat rate. Any questions? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you.
Thank you, Council. Next item is consideration of resolution SC 2024-14, ultrasonic odor control service.
Jeff,
Oh, do you need a motion or anything?
I need a motion.
motion to approve the resolution.
Second.
Jeff?
So this is part of the DM request for the odor control study we had done last year. They had us, when our sludge gets processed, they wanted some type of chemical to bond with it, mix with it to help with odor control. So we had a couple of companies that we checked out that were supposed to be relatively inexpensive. The first company that we checked out was going to be about $140,000 per year extra, which is more than double our odor control budget currently. The second company came in a little lower, but I think it was about $110,000 for the year for their product. And then we reached out to our other vendor that's already providing a service to us, and they offered a service to coat our sludge, for better lack of terms, for $10,200 for the year. So it's more of a sole source service because it's a different technology. All three companies that we went out to provided a different service to do the same thing. One was injecting chemicals into our line before sludge was processed. One was putting a chemical on top of it and mixing with it after it was just processed. And then this technology that we're using is putting ultrasonic waves in there to put a chemical over there and have the water dispersed and let this chemical bond with the sludge. So it was tough to go out to bid, and because all three companies were different, and putting in different steps of the process. And this was by far the most cost effective, so that's why we wanted to go with that one.
Is it gonna work?
As of right now, it is. So if you come to the back of the plant, it smells like citrus. That's just the chemical agent that the company uses. So right now it's working. The real test will be in the summertime to see how well it's working.
Heat and wind, right? Any questions for Jeff? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Thank you.
Next item is old business private pump stations.
I think we just heard a little bit, but go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, I believe Jim touched on most of it, unless anyone has any additional questions as far as the stations.
So everybody who has a private pump station has been contacted. And the last remaining that you said, you're already in communication with them. And they have to adhere to this.
Correct.
And if,
Good.
Jim,
You
just
wanna
come
come
up.
up? So.
When I misspoke the last time, there is a notice of violation. If they don't comply, there's a $500 fine. So it was already in the letter that we did it. So it's already in there. If they don't comply, then we'll implement a $500 fine. And from there, it may grow as the severity of the problem continues. But all the 4 people that did not have O and Ms, we had kind of crickets, so to speak.
Yep.
We are now communicating with them. They know what we want, and we've given them an outline, and we're working with them. We stop by every week, see if they have any questions. So even Extended Stay America was working on it, found that it was somebody else's issue. And they're working on it, so.
Is that a local realty company that owns
Yes,
Extended
it-
Stay? It is.
If you look at there's an easement agreement between Extended Stay America and this company. It's a realty company in Rhode Island, but it's also registered, I want to say in Delaware.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it is a local, and they're located in that complex.
Okay.
So,
Any other questions on the private pump stations? No. Thank you. Public comment. Any public comment on sewer? Hearing none.
Motion to adjourn.
second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. We're gonna recess.